Hey guys, how's it going? Today I have a really awesome piece of tech for you guys, the Razer Kiyo Pro. I don't know if you've noticed, but on my channel I really do enjoy playing Warzone and other kinds of video games. Really want to branch out with that, especially when Battlefield and Halo are coming out shortly. Thought I might as well make it official and get a camera. Or a webcam rather. I did think about getting like an Elgato thing and hooking up the camera to it, but then I only have one camera and then going through all that. I'd rather just have one nice solitary fine piece of equipment that sits on my desk and I could use whenever I want to make videos or stream or something like that. Without further ado, let's get right into this thing. So it's got a high performance light sensor, which is pretty awesome because this thing shoots HDR. It does only shoot HDR in 30 frames or 30 hertz, 30 frames. So we'll get into that a little bit later, kind of see if you're really gaining a lot from 30 or if you really need that 60. A majority of the time you're going to be a tiny little box on the corner of the screen, so I really don't think that that matters too much, which is another reason why 1080p really is not that much of an issue for me. I know some people want to get 4K, but I stream and record OBS at 1080, so that is not an issue. I also really appreciate the fact that this not only has a monitor mount, but it has like an unscrewable detachable thingamajig where you could put this on a bipod, which is why I will be using this bad boy and throwing it on my desk somewhere. Not quite sure yet, but I just feel like that, you know, straight down from the monitor look is just it's just a weird look. All right guys, let's get into this box. Again, I always love Razer's packaging. You got that cool welcome to Razer, the cult thing, and the RGBs, and I'm sure we'll get some stickers in here. Razer Kiyo Pro, all that documentation, that good stuff that I'm probably never gonna, oh, there it is, money, boom. Alright, all the documentation and whatnot aside, check out this chonkster. I don't know, something about how huge this is just makes it feel like it's gonna be good quality. It's also pretty thick as well. I think this thing has a microphone built into it, but I do not plan on using that. It is nice to keep in mind if you're going to use this for professional purposes, but as a gamer I have the Razer Seiren X, and I also made a video on this if you'd like to check it out. I'll drop it in the description down below. But this thing is very, very nice. Let me just really quick. Ooh. Now here is where you can either put it onto your monitor with this little clampy thingy, or you could go ahead and unscrew it like I am going to do, and then use that bottom portion there to mount it on the tripod. Let's see what else comes in the box. You have these little compartments here. And one thing that I absolutely always love from Razer is the cables that it comes with. This little thing here to like keep your cable nice and neat. The fact that it's all super braided. You got USB-C, which goes into the camera, USB-A, which goes into your computer. It's very thick and it just feels like very high quality A+ S-tier cable here. Last but not least, you have a little privacy little cap here. So whenever you have your camera plugged in and you don't want any peeping toms that are hacking into your biddle coins, you go ahead and throw this bad boy on there and you are good to go. Now all that's left is to hook this up check out the software, and I'll get right back with you guys. So this is what the Razer Kiyo Pro looks like plugged in. I have my studio light over there. I have the light that is on my ceiling right there. And I don't know how well you could see that, but we have like an autofocus, so it will try and hunt and like see where I'm going. As you can see, it is doing a fairly good job. I have the HDR turned on and whatnot. This is kind of like a huge blown up picture of me at the 1080. So a majority of the time you will be using it like this. So as you can see, I have Call of Duty pulled up. I'm a little box in the corner. I think it looks very nice and crisp. However, I personally like to play with all of my lights turned off, so just so you could see, if you don't want to have, you know, lights just glaring in on you the whole time you're playing, I'm going to turn off my little studio light. Okay, so that is the studio light that is now turned off. As you can see, with a giant sensor that's on it, still getting a pretty nice image. Nothing too bad. It's not like crazy 4K or anything. There is like a little noise kind of like around my face and where it's trying to figure out where I am, but it's still snapping with autofocus fairly easy. And when you are gaming, you're going to be just kind of in one stable position, so once it locks in on you, then you'll be good to go. Let's see if you're holding something up. Say I got a chapstick. It's having a hard time trying to focus on it, but as soon as I put my hand there, you could kind of make it out. And now, back to me. If you like gaming just kind of completely in the dark and letting your RGB flow, here is no light in the room. So the only light that is on me right now is the light that's coming from my monitor and the kind of purple bluish lights from my PC. Here is what it would look like in game. So I think this honestly looks really nice, especially if you have like RGB or Philips Hues lights right behind you and you're trying to kind of have like a cool gamer streamy session going. Then I think like you don't really need to have those crazy bright lights on you. I know like just the way cameras work, it will help the camera get more information, make a clear, detailed, more picture of you. But I personally really like this. And one thing to take in mind as well, when I'm blowing up my picture like this, I have a 1440p monitor. This is 1080p, so I don't know if OBS is doing some weird kind of thing here, because personally, like when the pixels are condensed like this, I mean that picture looks very clear and usable, at least for me. But when I blow it up like this is kind of every once in a while you'd use something like this, like when you're talking to your stream, like if you move the picture to the right and have like a kind of stream chat going up right here, I could see you using it for something like that. But for me personally, majority of the time I'm going to be using it like this. Alright, next let's go into the Razer settings for this webcam. So as you can see, I have quite a few settings set up. I kind of fiddled around with the brightness, contrast, saturation, things like that. Autofocus, you can keep it on or off, so if you know you're going to be sitting in a very specific area, you can kind of just tune it to where you're going to be. Like right there looks pretty sharp. And HDR you have on or off. I like keeping the HDR on. Oh, that looks pretty good with it off too. So, that's interesting. The HDR mode kind of like introduced a bunch of noise in the background. Maybe it may have to do with my field of view as well. As you can see, you have narrow, medium, and wide. See, wide is just a little too much for me. So I definitely recommend kind of coming in here, fiddling around with your settings, figuring out what's good for you. So here I have the wide mode with HDR. Let's see what happens when I introduce the studio light and see if that noise goes away. So immediately when I turn that light off, all the noise goes away. The camera's not trying to take in as much like HDR content, I suppose you could say, or like as much light to produce HDR content. So with that, you also, let me kind of narrow this back into myself. So here is what the default coloring will look like. You will want to kind of mess with this depending on if you have different colors in your room, what you would like to pop. As you can see, all of these sliders kind of change around with these preset settings, so you can mess with your brightness, your white settings, your white balance, saturation, contrast. Really make it how you want. Well, as far as first impressions go, I'm honestly very happy with this camera. I will have to kind of tweak with the settings and really figure out how to make this jive with OBS to kind of get the best picture possible. But I do think that for the price that you're paying for this, I paid $150 for it. It was $50 off at Best Buy the other day, so I'm very happy with going this route and having a very high quality camera to make YouTube videos and to make more content for you guys with Warzone and whatnot, other video games. Just a very cool piece of tech to have. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like or a sub or both. It really helps the channel, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to make it this far in the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.